talking about the plant medicine is something that has been used in the Amazon jungle for centuries, I think. Like, and it's very sacred. It's not a recreational thing, and it's used. There's the spiritual side of it and the medical side of it, and you can look at both for the skeptics. So the spiritual side is that these tribes, these elders in the Amazon, these shamans, they believe that the spirit of this plant has healing properties, and it will heal you, and it will change things in your brain, and it will help trauma, and it will give you insights, and it can do all these things. And they're even studying this now at King's University for people with PTSD, etc., etc. And they found that this plant medicine, which I'll describe in a minute, rewires the brain in the same way as thousands of hours of deep psychotherapy. It has the same effect, ingesting this thing. And they don't know how, but they just know it does. And so you've got the doctors who are kind of like, well, we know this kind of works and seems to have this positive effect, but we don't know how. And then you have the spiritual side of it, and they're like, yeah, it's the spirit of God, the spirit of the plant goes in, heals you. That's your explanation. So wherever you sit, it works. That's the crazy thing.
From my experience with you personally, relatively pragmatically minded bloke. I don't consider you particularly wishy-washy, which is why when you first told me about this, I was somewhat surprised. What part of that do you believe?
Honestly, like the deeply, deeply, deeply spiritual side of it now, in a way that it's just, I mean, my experience with that was my experience with the psychedelic compound. 10 or so years later, I unfortunately lost my father. And at the time, somebody had told me about this place you can go that is affordable to go and do this plant medicine. Now, you can't do it in the UK. There's parts of Europe where it's decriminalized, or you can go to the jungle. Yeah. And over the last couple of years, I've been to the jungle. I've been to places in Europe. I've had a lot of experiences with it. And I thought maybe I'm kind of ready for this experience now, because I'm at this point in my life where, you know, when you lose your father, something changes. Something drastically changes in you. I don't even know how to describe it, but something massively changes. And everyone said, I said, I'm going to go off and I'm going to do this thing. People said, don't, you're not in the right headspace. You're too vulnerable. But what the plant medicine is it's a compound called ayahuasca, and they drink the compound instead of, I told you, inhaling it, right? So the leaves that contain this dimethyltryptamine from this particular plant are mixed with the vine of the ayahuasca plant, and the ayahuasca vine will inhibit the body's ability to break down the dimethyltryptamine. So instead of a few minutes, you can get 5 or 6 hours. But the ayahuasca vine itself is the thing that has healing properties. Yeah. And so the visuals come as just a byproduct of this one particular compound, because, as I said, the only time you experience visuals like that is supposedly when you die, because that's the only time your body releases this dimethyltryptamine. So you're putting something into your body that normally is associated with your last few moments of being alive, and you combine it with this other plant that has what they call the healing properties, and that will help with your trauma. That's what gives you all the stuff in your head. The way I would describe it in a nutshell is it's akin to having 1,000 hours of psychotherapy in a matter of hours. And then there is sometimes, not always, there's a physical purge, they refer to it as. And the purge is an expulsion of vomit or shit or tears or screaming, whatever. And that normally goes hand in hand with some kind of trauma that you're letting go. So people use this as a healing thing for trauma. It sounds a bit mad, but what I say to people is everybody would agree that if you cry about something, you feel better after crying. You don't know why, but sometimes this release, this crying, makes you feel better, and you go, well, something physical has happened here. You know, water has left my eyes, I have cried, and now somehow my head feels better. So what this compound does is it's like when it makes you vomit, it's like all this horrendous vomiting happens and you go, oh, somehow I feel better. And again, doctors don't sort of really know why, but the spiritual side of it, they would say the spirit's going in and it's just pulling the trauma out. Now, I've obviously been to the Amazon jungle, I've been to other places to do this, and I've had insane highs and lows and experiences with this plant medicine that's changed, I think, how I view everything, how I think about everything, but also how I've processed trauma, how I've dealt with things, and the effects I've seen it have on other people is just mind-blowing. The people you meet who are going, you always think your life's shit until you meet somebody whose life is a million times worse.
Yeah.
And you go, wow, my trauma's nothing, right? But yes, I believe that it has healing properties. It has properties to make you wiser, more insightful.
Do you want to talk about, obviously, certain parts of this you might not be willing to cover, and obviously covering other people's experience with it without their consent is not really a road we're going to go down. Do you reckon the spider example would be a good enough example to go with?
That would put people off, I think. I can tell you about my first experience because I think the first experience for me was the most significant. I went there and so we'll set the scene. You're in a room. It's dark. Everybody is kind of sitting, lying, comfortable. And there's the person who holds the space, who is the shaman. In this case, it was a lady.
Yeah.
And you drink and you have your intention. And now my thing was, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get all these answers. And I wrote down, leading up to this, pages and pages of questions about my life. Why has this happened? Why have I done this? Why do I have this resentment for this? Why do I do self-sabotage? All these kind of questions. And I compressed it down into a few things that I wanted to know. And so I go there and I'm like, right, I want to think about all this stuff. A big thing for me was leaving the village where I grew up. I kind of not cut ties with my parents, but I distanced myself from my mother and my stepfather and my family and people like that, and I just kind of went off on my own. And growing up, I had some resentments for my stepfather because he was quite tough on me. That's all sorted now. It's nothing like that, but I had some resentments for my mum for certain things, and I was very bitter about how certain things in my life had been, right? I wasn't aware of this at the time. My questions were all other questions. So I drank and nothing happened. Sit there for an hour in the dark, nothing's happening. So you can drink as much as you want, right? So I go up, I drink some more. And then I'm kind of starting to feel something. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for a third drink. So I drank a decent amount. And then this shaman, she began to play this acoustic guitar. And as she did, they say concentrate on the music, right? Because that will take you. So I'm starting to listen to the music, and it's beautiful. When I say it's beautiful, the music she was playing, the way she's plucking this guitar. So then I start to see all the crazy visuals that are akin to when I'd kind of taken this compound years earlier. So I'm like, okay, something's definitely happening now, because I can see all this crazy kaleidoscope shit. And so I'm lying there, and I start to feel a sense of really like I'm kind of floating away here. And all I'm doing is I'm concentrating on this music. And the more I concentrate on the music, the more intense the visuals get. And you hear the psychedelic-y type people say, oh yeah, I took some mushrooms and I could see sound and stuff like that. It's like I really could see sound. So she's plucking these notes of the guitar, and every time she plucks the note, it's like a golden bubble pops, and an image and a color comes out of it that I don't know what it is, because it's something that is not of this world, and it's just insanely beautiful. And I start getting lost in it, and then she begins to sing, and the voice is so beautiful. I just, like, my eyes just begin to cry. I've never heard or seen anything so beautiful in my life, and my head almost can't handle it. Like it's too much. And I have this feeling, and I'm like, this is like the nicest feeling I've ever felt in my life. What the hell's, like, what is this? And I mean, to try and give some idea of what it felt like, it was as if I no longer had a body, and I was just an atom that was part of the energy of like love and happiness itself. And I was just floating in space, listening to this music, and I'm like, I think, oh, okay, maybe I should now start asking the questions in my head. So I'm thinking, thinking about my questions that I want to know. And then some people will say the medicine or the spirit or the entities talk to you, but it's all happening in your head. So it's kind of like you're talking to yourself. But for argument's sake, it's easier to say that the spirit said this, right? So you can imagine it. So a voice says, you're asking all the wrong questions. And I'm like, what's the real questions? And it says, what are you feeling? And I'm like, I don't know, but I like it. Like, what is this? And I'm going through, and this is all happening amidst a load of mad visuals and crazy stuff going on. And I'm just like, I don't know what this is, but it's amazing. I don't know what the questions are. And then I see this, I hallucinate this eye. It's got limbs, like human limbs, and it just beckons me to come closer into the lights, which is a bit scary, right? It's like, come in. So I feel like I'm going into the lights. And then I'm there, and I'm like, oh my God, and I feel like a child again. And I'm just in this weird room of light and colors and beauty and everything. And I feel, and it's this very sense of like, this love and this security and all this maternal energy and everything like that. And I'm like, where am I? What is this? And I think to myself, and I actually asked the question, I said, is this what love feels like? Right? I'm like, oh, have I never felt this? Like, have I never, ever felt this in my life? And I'm like, maybe I haven't. And then I start to think about my parents and my friends and the people close to me. And I'm like, Jesus, it's like, did I reject love? Do I reject love? Do I push my parents away? I did this, I did the other. I was like, it's like, if I've never felt this, like, that's not good, right? And so it's as if like I'm starting to unravel all this, and then my head's going all over the place and everything, and then I start to push back and say, no, but I'm angry about this. My stepdad did this, my mum did this person did this, and blah blah blah. And this thing saying, just, you have to let it go, like, you have to let it go. And I'm like, well, I don't want to let it go. And I start thinking like, oh, if I let go of that, I'm letting go of my strength, because my bad experiences made me strong, and I don't want to be all lovey-dovey, that'll be weak. And I'm battling with it for ages and ages in my head. And it said, and then I'm like, I want to feel this thing all the time, because this is the most amazing thing I've ever felt. And it's like, well, you're not going to feel this until you let go of this. And I'm like, oh, but do I really have to let go of it? Blah, blah, blah. And back and forth. And then finally, I said to myself in my head, I said, okay, I think I'm ready to let go. And I just opened my eyes. And as I opened my eyes, I just felt this overwhelming urge to be sick. And I reach forward, I grab this bucket, and I'm hurling into this bucket, and it's horrible. It's not like being sick. It's like uncontrollable, like projectile kind of vomiting that I'm not doing. It's like something else is this stuff out of me, and it's painful. It's so painful as well. That's the thing. And it's like I'm letting go of all this pain and all this trauma, and I'm kind of crying, and I'm thinking, this hurts, this is killing me, blah, 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 blah. It's really awful. And finally, when it's all gone, I just kind of lay back, and it's like I'm back in the room, I'm back in my body. And the only thing, honest to God, I could think in my head, I was like, fuck me, I'm reborn. I'm literally like reborn. And I just start crying, and I look around the room, and I'm like, I feel a happiness, and I feel like a weight's been lifted and all of that stuff. And I'm like, holy shit, like, I've been hanging on to all of this like anger and resentment and everything like that for things all my life. And it just helped it let go. And then ever since then, I've gone deeper, further, explored other things, other highs and lows. But yeah, it really, it really was like 10,000 hours of therapy in the space of 5 hours.
5 hours you were in it.
5 hours you were in it, yeah. And then you come back out.